Greetings, and good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly edition of our Lunch and Learn.
E is exhaling, having an opportunity to breathe, to rest, to refill yourself and rejuvenate yourself, because no one can pour from an empty cup.
As you evolve and become more of yourself, you begin to attract the people that are there for you.
Amen.
So everything you need is in the space.
You have to learn from your mistakes. Once you make a mistake, sit down, recoup, and then start over. And once you do that, you say, I got that.
See, Juneteenth means to me, I would definitely say empowerment and education.
When I experienced it, like just coming together and, being a part of something bigger than myself,
A new start, starting a new chapter, opportunity, new beginnings, all of that good
Greetings, and good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly edition of our Lunch and Learn. Today, we have a great conversation. We'll be talking about empowerment, fashion, community with the great gentleman who was actually one of our Black King awardees this past Juneteenth here at our Black Kings dinner. We have Sir Kells Barnett. Let's bring him up to the stage. If any of you out there are New Yorkers, I now live in Atlanta, but being a New Yorker for 45 years before leaving, I do know that this gentleman is from what I consider, and a lot of people consider, the epicenter of New York's fashion. That is Harlem, NY. He is the owner of Harlem Haberdashery. If you've ever had the honor of walking into, I'll say what I experienced as a just like it was stepping into a whole nother world, kind of, sort of. It was a very elevated feel. It's been a really long time since I went into the shop, being 100% honest. This was maybe back like maybe 2012, 2011. But I know that it was very different. It was a different feel from every other boutique that you could find on 125th Street, on any of the other streets. And he's here to talk about an initiative that he has, the things that he's up to in the community, and talk to us about fashion and how he walked into that. So, hey, Kells, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for that introduction. How are you?
I'm really good. It's a great day. We're about to have a great conversation. And before we dive into that conversation, I would love for you to give the community an introduction into your world and who you are and the things that you're up to. And then we'll start with a couple of questions.
Okay. Well, I am Kells Barnett. I consider myself a serial entrepreneur. I'm the owner of Harlem Haberdashery, as you said. I'm a designer for 5,001 Flavors. I'm the owner of I have another boutique that I just opened a couple of years ago called the Gold Standard. I now have two boutiques upstate Poughkeepsie. We just launched the eyewear, HH Bespoke Eyewear. A couple of years ago, we launched Spirits, HH Bespoke Spirits. I have a rum ginger vodka. And a couple of years ago, we launched HH Bespoke Water, which is an alkaline water. So yeah, I just consider myself a serial entrepreneur. I like to keep my mind busy and active. And then on the nonprofit side, I have initiative that you were talking about called Take Care of Harlem, which we literally just do any and everything Harlem needs, literally taking care of Harlem.
And I'm just thinking in my mind, I know that's everything from soup to nuts. So many happen there. You have a lot of small businesses that get started there. You have community involvement that needs to happen, that is always needed in any community, but definitely in that epicenter of fashion. In order for these young folks to grow into the Kells Barnett, they have to survive. So I know that there's probably a lot of work in that area, keeping them on the streets as much as possible, giving them things to learn and step into and grow into. So can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing in Harlem and how fashion, what were some of the first, 'cause I know for me, it was definitely Dapper Dan, and going past that shop when I was maybe 14, 15, and like 94, 95, somewhere in there, 90, I was 14, 15, and just being downtown and going past that store and getting to see the cutting happening and the little things that you could see through the, just through the window or whatever. What was your?
So what's funny about Harlem, man, it's like every block in Harlem is a different vibe, a different type of energy. But the one thing that's common in no matter where you go in Harlem is everybody think they're the flyest and everybody thinks they're the most fashionable person in the world. So just growing up in that environment of the older guys just on the block talking and how they fresher than you, how they flyer than you. I always just been interested in that type of energy. And then I grew up during the time where hip hop fashion was really becoming predominant. And what a lot of people really know us for in Harlem is starting a company called 5001 Flavors, which caters to celebrities and caters to the hip hop culture. So like a lot of that stuff during the 90s, when I was little, when my family started the business, I was around a lot of that type of fashion. I was around all those celebrities, all of those video shoots, all those photo shoots. So fashion has always been a part of my life. I think my family being in the fashion industry and me being from Harlem, it was almost like inevitable that I would get into fashion in some way, shape, or form. So me already being from Harlem and just thinking that I'm the most flyest guy in the world, and then my family being in fashion, and then just the emergence of like that hip hop fashion culture, it's just like, it was inevitable. So I just always been around fashion. I grew up around fashion. I grew up a lot of great mentors, a lot of great stylists. So I've just always been in this world of fashion. So I love it. I don't think I'll never get tired of being in fashion or this world of fashion.
That's pretty dope. Thanks for sharing your background in that, and taking it even further than just giving like names of a person. I love that you speak to just the experience of your life. And what comes up for me is that it's pretty darn dope that you were honored this year.
Yes.
Specifically with it being the 50-year anniversary for hip hop. So pretty darn dope. Honor to connect here with you today, to just bring you to the community and let them get a view of who you are and what you're up to. So I know today we're really here to like dive into Take Care of Harlem.
Yep.
We definitely want the community to know about this. We want them to know so that they can support, they can show up, they can see what maybe it's always partnerships, partnering with power out there in the world. And when we speak and share on these platforms, it gives us an opportunity to spread the word farther. So Take Care of Harlem. What exactly is it, and how has it impacted the community thus far?
So what's funny is yesterday was actually Take Care of Harlem 9th birthday. Officially. When Instagram specifically came out, I realized that if you're someone like me or just anybody that just does a lot of different things, you may go to events, you may throw events, you may go to community events, you may go to your friend's birthday party. And when we used to post on social media back then, what you did for the community would get buried on top of you showing off your outfit, you showing yourself at a friend's party. So I realized that the way to connect content was through hashtags. Hashtags had literally probably just started getting really popular and famous. This was even before like a lot of major brands were using hashtags. So I realized that the way to connect all of my different things I was doing was through hashtags. So back then, before Take Care Harlem was official, I used to just do community stuff like a coat drive, toy drive, just different things. And I realized that I needed like a saying or something to say, this is what I'm doing. Like, and I was like, oh, Take Care of Harlem. Like, that's what I was doing. I was doing everything in Harlem. Like anything, like if people said they wanted socks, I'm like, let's do a sock drive. So when we first did our first official event 9 years ago, it was our Feed 500 initiative where we make lunches for just the community. And I always like to make it a known fact that when we feed the community, we're not feeding the quote unquote homeless or people in need. We're feeding anyone who needs food. And I think that's the mistake a lot of organizations make when they go to feed the community is sometimes, even though I don't look like I need food, I need food. We expect people to look a certain way to need what we want. That was the same reason why I started my coat drive. A friend of mine who was a little bit older than me, who I looked up to when I was younger, like this was like 12 years ago, his house had caught on fire. And if you was to see this guy back then, you wouldn't think he needed anything. He's like, man, my kids lost everything. And I remember it was like drizzling. It was cold and drizzling that day. And he had like on a windbreaker. And I'm like, wow, like we forget that sometimes people who need help don't always look like how we think it looks based on stereotypes, based on propaganda, whatever. So when I started Take Care Harlem, it was literally just to fill in the void of all of those things we needed. And I didn't care who you were. When I was doing a toy drive, if you needed a toy, it wasn't about how much money you had. Of course, I want to help the needy, but the needy sometimes is people you don't think is the needy. So I literally collected as many toys, many coats, fed as many people as I could, regardless of your situation in life. I just wanted to help out. So Take Care Harlem was literally started just to fill a void of the community. Things that, and I'm still doing it now. Like I'm always trying to think of ways to help that people don't think people need help on. That's why I'm really proud that a lot of organizations are starting to do back to school drives. Because I remember when I was younger, I like not going to school with paper. That makes or breaks the success of the year. Like you don't realize being underprepared. It discourages you. You're like, I don't care about school if the kid don't got a new backpack or a new notebook. Like that's something a lot of people don't think about. So even seeing other organizations do that, and I'm even proud that even though Take Care Harlem is an official 501, the hashtag Take Care Harlem has took on a life of its own. And any organization in Harlem uses it, and I love it. Like I love when they're promoting jobs or promoting something they do. I don't own the hashtag Take Care Harlem. I want anyone that's doing anything in the community of Harlem to use it like freely. You don't have to ask me, just use it. This is what I'm doing because that's how all of our initiatives are connected. And now on Instagram, you're able to follow hashtags. So I think the Take Care Harlem hashtags even has a couple of hundred followers. So even like just that alone, it's grew past what my mission was for the brand. I just want our community to thrive, and by thriving, not just anybody. It doesn't have to be necessarily me or my organization.
Got that. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I love the biggest thing that I heard through your share is that people don't look like their problems. And
yep.
We do live from this space of judgment a lot of times. And that's one of those things in life that I wish so much that we could just vanish away, which is judgment, because judgment really gets in the way of so many things in the world. And sometimes even in our own ways. So thank you for that. So I definitely, what type of partnerships, what type of people are you looking for to, outside of offering the community to use Take Care of Harlem? What are some of the things that they could, ideas? Like I know I heard that you're looking for things that are outside of the box, outside of the box type of giving back and showing up. But what are some partnerships that you may need, or is there any type of support that Take Care of Harlem could use from the community directly?
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime we have an initiative, we need support. So this year, putting on a lot of like big picture stuff. But our are we back? I thought we had some technical difficulty. Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
There we go.
So yeah, just one of the things just off the top that we always need is word of mouth. Like when we're doing a toy drive collection or school supply, word of mouth, even if you're not able to donate supplies or do a monetary donation, sharing it, any organization, not just mine, any organization that you see it doing something, just share it. You may not be able to help out, but you sharing, telling another person helps, because that person may connect to another person that connects to another person that maybe has $10,000, $20,000 for that organization. But if you don't share it, a lot of times, if we're not able to do something like, yeah, I can't really help out right now, we just scroll right by, just share it. All you gotta do is just share it. That's all a lot of times we need is just sharing. And even to go back further, when we talk about Take Care of Harlem, and the question I always ask is people, because I have a lot of for-profit businesses, and what people don't realize is the reason why I started Take Care of Harlem is because I realized a lot of years ago, like maybe like 15, 20 years ago, that because of who I was in the community, because of how I dress, somebody may be impressed with how I talk. I don't know like the exact reason, but I had a lot of influence. And I realized with a lot of influence, you have responsibility. As Black people living in our communities, whether we want to or not, we have a responsibility and an obligation to help out people out in whatever way we can. So what I realized about my influence is I'm like, oh, if people will come hang out with me and drink at a bar, maybe they'll do this community event with me. And then all of this stuff became synonymous with each other. So then we opened up Harlem Haberdashery Boutique. That became like the hub for all of our brands. That became like the home of Take Care of Harlem. Like, wow, we could do a community event and we could do events where we turn up. Like, so it was like all of those things became more and more easy once I realized how influence and people wanting to help out work, because we can still have fun and help out the community. So the more I realized about my influence and what I realized years ago is that when you look good, when you feel good, when people want to be around you, when people want to be around you, let's help out the community. So I always, I rope people in with fashion, and then once you come around, I sneak attack you with some community stuff. So you're gonna get the community stuff, whether you want it or not, because community is what draws strength in our culture.
I love that. I love that. I'm like, I hear so much balance, the opportunity for creating balance in our lives. I'm huge on that in different areas. And as an influence, and I live from that scope, and I look at people a lot of times, and that's one of those places that I've had to work on my own level of judgment and turn that on myself, because sometimes I can be a little disappointed by the influence that is out there with the amount of people that we have in positions that could use their voices differently. But again, everybody has their own causes. In my unpacking my own judgment, I had to realize that everybody has their own causes. Sometimes you don't know about them, and just kind of, again, releasing that judgment. But I love that you live from a space of doing everything that you can for the community, and it definitely elevates. Again, like I said, it was an elevated experience so many years ago. Now it just elevates. Now I get to see who the owner is, understand why I even had that experience of fashion from that point of view, from someone that looked like me. I wasn't on Fifth Avenue, but that's where I felt like I was when I stepped into that store.
Right. Yep.
And that was the feel that it had. And I didn't feel like I don't belong here. I didn't feel like I'm being watched, followed around the store. I was greeted, spoken to. And with truth be told, I was there on business, but it wasn't really out at the time where I was even in my business and where I am today. I know exactly why it wasn't a fit at the time. But again, just an elevated experience. So thank you. Thank you for all that you are doing, not just for Harlem, but for the world and for anybody that gets an opportunity to experience you, because I'm sure there's a ton of youth that can say that something is different just because they saw that fly guy and time, and because you show up in the community. And that's we really that's what Juneteenth, this lunch and learn, this space is really all about. It's why I show up every week and volunteer my time and energy and efforts to sit on the other side when guests are willing to come and share what they give to the community. So thank you. So I see that you're a board member of Friends of the Children of New York and Table of Kings. Can you share what exactly is that and what you're up to with those initiatives?
So it's funny. I was on the board of Friends of the Children of New York. I'm now the director of marketing. I sat on the board for a couple of months, and what I realized was that they needed help with marketing. And the reason why I say that is because when I became a board member, I only knew the surface. And as I'm sitting in the board meetings, I'm like, wow, like this organization does so much. And what Friends of the Children is, they work with youth and families impacted by the foster care and justice system in any capacity. And what I enjoy about it is that when I was younger, my father was incarcerated. So I would have been a child of that program if that program existed when I was little. So it was something like in my heart, like, wow, that's why I was interested on surface level. But then once I became a board member, I'm like, wow, like this is great. All of this great talk, but none of these things are reflected on the social media, on the website. So I'm like, so one day randomly they look up somebody do marketing. I'm like, well, that's what I do. Like I'm a marketer. So I became the director of marketing, and my job has just been to spotlight the brand in a positive light of everything that we're doing with our youth and families, which is anywhere from resources to housing security, food security, just support. A lot of times our families and our communities just need support, just somebody to talk to. And what we do is we provide families with a paid mentor for 12 years, which the reason why I joined, I had never heard of that. I'm like, wow, like a paid mentor, someone that is in your life for 12 years to help you navigate life. Because life is difficult, especially living in New York City, especially having a child in New York City, especially being in a lot of these school systems is difficult. So we just need support. So that's what Friends of the Children is, and that's my position there now. Started as a board member, now I'm the director of marketing, which is incredible, and I love it. I love the work that we've done there. Table of Kings, man, is honestly one of my most proudest moments is our organization, Table of Kings. And you can look us up on Instagram. That is Table of Kings, Kingz spelled with a Z, not an S. And what we do is we put young boys of color through a rites of passage curriculum where they learn about the law, they learn about finance, they learn about self-motivation. And then what I really love is at the end of the program, we have a ceremony called our crowning ceremony, where they have to memorize these rites of passage to mentors in front of their families, in front of past alumni. We're now on cohort 9. So we've had 9 crowning ceremonies. I tear up every single time seeing the boys move on. I tear up when I run into the street. And you had said something before you asked the question about what Table of Kings is so when I was little and schools, organization, after school stuff, they would bring in people from the community, and there would be a black person in a suit. And I'm like, that's cool. But it wouldn't be somebody I knew. It wouldn't be somebody that I knew what block he was from. I knew his cousin. So they would come, give this motivational speech. You could be anything you want in the world. Like, that's great. But I don't think, so anybody listening, I don't think people realize it is very unintentional. It's very unclear. When you tell kids from the hood, you can be anything you want, that's not giving guidance, because that's such a vague, it's so scary to tell a child, especially back then. See, now it's a little bit different. We're breeding success and life into our kids, but back then, schools were not good at all. So telling a kid who has no direction, This is before the internet. You can be anything you want. I don't even know what book to go to do anything. So all we really wanted to be was, I wanted to be a rapper or basketball player. Or sometimes somebody say a business owner, not even knowing what that meant. So these people will come from banks and stuff and give these speeches, get in a car and drive off. You never see them again, like ever, like not ever. What I wanted to be was, when I go to schools to speak to kids, when we're mentoring kids, these kids, a lot of times as a kid in our Table of Kingz program, I know this kid for 6-8 weeks, and then randomly realize at the crowning that I grew up with his mother. And that's what I enjoy about mentoring kids from our communities. I'm a real person. My family's from Harlem. I grew up in Harlem. I can show you where I had my first fight. I can show you where I kissed my first girl. I can show you like what this restaurant used to be, what this business used to be. And kids respond to that. So a lot of our kids that come through our Table of Kingz program, they'll see me on the train. I see them acting stupid down the cart. I got their mother number. I got their father number. So they know I'm a real person. And what's dope about Table of Kingz is that we're not a replacement for fathers. We're support. So when people come to the crowning, they're told this beautiful long speech, because of course it's a stereotype that there are no Black men in our kids' life. And I've always known that to be false. So Table of Kingz is a support of the families, not a replacement. A lot of our fathers are involved with our kids, incredibly involved with our kids. So again, if you guys please take a look at our Instagram page, Table of Kingz, spelled with a Z, not an S. I am very proud of Table of Kingz. I'm very proud of what we've been able to do. Some of our kids are now going to college and high school, and it's great. And we're still in their life, and it is incredible. I absolutely love Table of Kingz.
I was going to say, so do I. And actually, I'm so happy to hear of this, because I feel like it was maybe, I actually am a graduate and a coach with a Women's Rites of Passage program that actually began from a program that was for young women. And then my mentor at the time realized that the grown women needed it, so that if more of us had it, then less of the daughters needed the type of rites of passage that this program ended up kind of growing into. So being a part of understanding what a rites of passage is, understanding the tools that you gain, the community that you gain a whole new family when you're part of a rites of passage program. Yep. You gain community networking. It's almost, so for me, not going to college, I consider it to be my sorority. It's my sorority of sisters. We show up for one another. We support each other. We constantly empower and stretch each other and push each other to go past and just get out of our own way. So to know that there is a program for young men.
Yep.
It's definitely something dope. So I'll definitely be sharing it with that community specifically, not just my other, but specifically with them, because many of us, I'm like, one of those other places where I missed out. I have a 23-year-old young man that I would have loved to have seen going through that program in his youth. So I definitely will be sharing it with any and every mother and woman that I know, because I know that some of us don't always give birth to need that information. You got nephews, you got godsons, yep. You have cousins, you have your neighborhood, just everything. And like you said, sharing is exactly what would have that initiative be spread further. Again, I'm so happy that you were able to be crowned at the Black Kingz Award and have your own, just be honored. I see so much. So I have so many things here, and art lives in Harlem. Mm-hmm. I love that you started with the fact that you're a serial entrepreneur, and you're not only a serial entrepreneur, you're a serial philanthropist as well. And I'm not speaking of money. I'm speaking of time, your energy, your efforts. So Art Lives in Harlem. Tell us about that.
So Art Lives in Harlem is an initiative within Take Care Harlem, where, so it started, I don't know, it started just thinking of ways, like how could I make the hood better, right? And when you travel the world, and when you go to like DC, you go to Philly, or Pittsburgh, or just Queens used to have a real nice art community. And I'm talking about like murals, like specifically. I always believe that art is how the community communicates with the world. And when I see murals, when I see like really nice murals in neighborhoods, to me that says that somebody cares about this neighborhood. So let me not mess with this neighborhood, if that makes sense. Versus if you go to a neighborhood and you see no art nowhere, you like, nobody cares about anything that's going on here. Same as you go to a neighborhood and you don't see no street lights. You like, nobody cares about this block. So Art Lives in Harlem started as a project that I wanted to start, where I wanted to create visual happiness, if that makes sense. Meaning, like murals to me are visual happiness. Our first mural, as our Art Lives in Harlem program, is on 117th in Lenox Avenue at our school, PS 149, and that is our History Remembered mural. It includes a lot of historical figures done by a good friend of mine and muralist, Andre Chenier, who is absolutely incredible. Look him up on Instagram. He does murals all around the world. When I was looking for a mural to do, I kind of got like a blank screen, and then my brother ran and said, "Well, what about Andre?" I said, "Oh yeah, what about Andre?" Like, so I just want to create something that lets outsiders as well as insiders that somebody cares about this neighborhood. This neighborhood is loved and taken care of. So that is our first mural. Our second mural in our Art Lives in Harlem program, which actually holds a special place in my heart. It's on 135th and 5th Avenue. And the reason why it holds a special place in my heart is it's kids as superheroes. And as many people think that murals and comic book movies are cheesy, it shows representation. There's a child that watched Black Panther, the movie, a couple of years ago for the first time, that in 20, 30 years is going to do something to change the world, and not even realize that he was inspired, motivated, and got all of those good feels from the movie. So we, a lot of times as adults, you ever heard that saying, like the adult is the child that forgot to be a child? Like a lot of times as adults, we forget what got us to where we're at. There are a lot of great movie directors now that seen a movie 40 years ago before they became a director that said, wow, like representation is important. So if you see yourself on screen, like, oh, we can be superheroes. We can be directors, right? Black Panther was starring all Black cast, directed by a Black man. There's a child that watched and said, oh, I can become a director. So the reason why I want to do that murals is kids is all superheroes, not just Black. Just we got some Latin, we got boys, we got girls as superheroes. But more importantly, for me, it holds a personal place in my heart. My daughter, who passed away a couple years ago, is on the mural as Wonder Woman, and her brother is Superman holding her hand. So a lot of people, when she was battling cancer, knew about the story, and they seen me keep going on, and so when I decided to do the mural as kids as superheroes, she was the first thought of. And what I really appreciate about it is through me and my kid's mom, a lot of people supported Mia's battle with cancer. So when the mural went up, even though she's included, the mural is bigger than just a mural with kids as superheroes. It is to, like I said, to let the outside, and where you when you come off the highway from the FDRs, the first thing you see off 135th, like, so it's showing the world that our kids are loved, and that our kids will not be forgotten. That's why I wanted to have my daughter included in that. So I just enjoy that it brings joy to people's hearts. And the reason why I said visual happiness, I grew up in that area. That school and that building was blank for years. It was like it went from the lights off to lights on. Even when it's raining, snowing, that mural brought so much light to that neighborhood. It's on 135th and 5th Avenue, PS 197. The amazing Principal Span, who, if you want to talk about community, oh man, Miss Span from 197 is community, like the definition of what community is. She don't care what it is if you want to do something to enrich the lives of her children, to her building, to her school, she's with it. I was like, every time I go on social media, I see somebody partnering with Miss Span. And that makes me happy because it's little steps. That it makes me happy because it's like, okay, I don't have to do everything. Let's feed all the resources to this school. She's neighborhood friendly. Let's feed the resources to her. So it's all types of programming that I have nothing to do with. That makes me so happy because it's like other people care. So you don't feel alone in this fight. Because sometimes when you're doing philanthropy, community work, we feel alone. So seeing Miss Span connect with all of these different resources, which she was doing before I even came around, but it's just nice to see now that I'm a part of her life. And I love all of the schools that I work with. I love all the connections and the community that I have. What's dope about community is that I always jokingly tell people, when you invest in community, community is going to invest in you, right? So like, there are a lot of things I can ask of the community. I'll get a yes way before I get a no, because people see that I'm investing stuff without asking you. So whether or not you help me, I'm going to do it. It is just nice to get the help. So I've been blessed and lucky to have this beautiful community around me. I'm lucky that well, it's beyond luck. I'm blessed that people see what I'm trying to do, and any little help that you give helps, and I'm appreciative of it all, man. But I'm very appreciative of the people that I've met and connected with on this journey of philanthropy.
That's beautiful, Kells. So I would be remiss if I don't take the time, the community that we are. We speak our ancestors' names into the space. And
Yes.
if I am correct, I think I heard you call her Mia.
Yep.
Do you mind sharing her full name just so that her spirit is here with us today?
Mia Grace, and I always feel her spirit. She was one of the happiest girls. It's crazy when watching a child go through something that you know is going to cause them harm. She was happy, she was blessed, she was full of life. She was only 3 and she had the biggest personality. So I feel her. Anytime I see colors, I see her. Cartoons, Disney, like it. She's definitely here. So yes, Mia Grace. Go check the mural out on 135th and 5th Avenue. And not just her, it includes, like, I love seeing kids walk by and I'm like, oh, that's me. And you're like, that's not you. But they be like, that's me. They're like, no, I'm telling you, that's me. Like, so it's so dope that the kids are able to connect. And I'm so proud of that because, like I said, some child or adult is going to be inspired by that mural and not even connected to that. And it doesn't matter. I don't care about that. I just want you to build something, take it somewhere in the world and do something with it. And you don't have to remember the mural. I just want you to know that it is a part of people's life and motivation of success. It's incredible just being to see the community react to the murals and Art Lives in Harlem.
Question for you, and then I'm going to read a question from the chat shortly. Is there a place that someone can go? Do you have like your hashtag for Art Lives in Harlem? If someone was to go to your page or somewhere, can they find the list of where all the murals are? I'm like, because that yeah. Sounds like a dope tour for me to go on when I visit home. I'm sorry, I'm living in a city that has amazing murals, and that's one of the things that was part of my choice to come here, is the art scene and the art world here in Atlanta. So now knowing that, I know I see murals at back home. I see them. I mean, I'm from the Bronx, so I have the Fat Joe. We have the Fat Joe mural up near Intervale.
That's actually where I'm at right now. I'm literally next door to that mural.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's where my office in the Bronx is.
I grew up right over in that area on Southern Boulevard and Longwood Avenue. And so I know that we're a city that, has murals, but when you don't really know where they are, and because our city is so big, it would definitely be beautiful to be able to go to one spot and be able to do a little Harlem tour and go and check out all of the Art Lives in Harlem murals. Is there a place that people can find that?
So if you go to Instagram, Take Care Harlem, in the highlights, you can see where the murals are. I am creating a page specifically for the murals, so I'm creating pages specifically for initiatives, because sometimes when you come to the page, there's so much going on. So I'm creating different, but there will be a Art Lives in Harlem Instagram page soon. I'm working on, but if you go to Take Care Harlem, you can see where everything is. On the highlights, you can just scroll around. But our first one is on 117th between 5th and Lenox. Our second one is on 135th and 5th. I'm trying to work on a third one, but what we're realizing is like we kind of set the bar kind of high. And a lot of our school walls are not as predominant as we want. Like I once you go see the murals, you're like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I don't want and I want the walls to be able to be publicly accessible, meaning I want people to be able to take pictures. I don't like murals behind gates where if you're not a part of that institution or organization, you can't. I want people to be able to take pictures in front of it. So I always want to create publicly accessible art. So that's the roadblock I'm facing right now is that one, the walls are not as predominant as I want, or the predominant wall is like behind a gate. And I don't want anybody to feel like that's not for me.
Got that. Ooh, that's pretty dope. All right, so there is a question I want to ask for Sister Z to Lidbay wants to know, are you connected with the Harlem artist Evan Bishop?
No, I actually never heard of Evan Bishop, but let me put that on my notes. I will. I'm like naturally nosy, so anything I hear, but I don't know who he is. But by the end of the day, we will be friends. I'm putting in my notes.
I was just about to say I love that thin line between nosy and curiosity. Because
I'm very nosy.
Someone doesn't ask, it's like, because a lot of times, not only is it just either those two things, sometimes our guts too are leading us. It's that natural progression. That's how connections happen. That's how natural, organic, like those, like you said, when your brother was mentioning the friend and you're like, oh yeah, what about? And then the next thing you know, you have this first mural that's actually complete. And that's literally how it works. So for me, that's where I get to be high vibrational and nosy. Pearl just sitting in the window, just talking about people.
Yeah, I'm not that type of nosy. No.
Yeah.
My thing is, all you got to do is tell me Harlem and something, and I'll go. If I don't know it, like if you tell me an organization I don't know about, you tell me a bar, a restaurant, anything in Harlem, by the end of the day or next time I see you, I'll know who the owner is. Like we chill. Like so. I'm like one of them. I'm like one of them easy people to get you to be down. All you gotta do is name something Harlem, and I'm down. It could be Harlem Book Reading Club. I'm in the book. Anything Harlem. I remember years ago I was not a runner. I was not a runner. I'm talking about like an athlete. I was not a runner. When we first opened the store, this couple who they're now married, Allison and Amir, had started something called Harlem Run. And I'm not a runner. I'm like, leave me alone. Like they gamed every day. I tell the stories to them all the time. But the fact that their run group was called Harlem Run, I said, man, I got it. It's called, I got to do it. It's called Harlem. And years later, I'm now a marathon runner because I joined something called, all you got to do is name Harlem and you got me. So, yeah.
Listen, well, it's much worse things to get into. That sounds like your body will probably thank you for that in the long run.
Right.
That's a good one. So I heard a question that I did have for people who may be looking to do something like that, whether it be an artist that maybe wants to get into doing a mural, whether it's someone that may be part of a organization that would like to create something like this. I know I heard you speak of how you connected with the principal Span, but is that how people would go about initiating something like that? Would they speak to the property owners, managers? How does one get to actually end up doing a mural if they don't know?
Right. So to do a mural is a few ways. Well, as far as funding, because that's what most people are interested in. As far as funding, you could do self-funding, you could do donations, you could do sponsorships. I'm actually looking for donations and sponsorships right now for a new mural that I have in mind. People are really eager to help out. But sometimes all you got to do, I'm a firm believer of you have to say what you want to get it. A lot of times we have these ideas and then we burn out because we live with this idea on our own. All you got to, hey, I'm looking to do a mural. Can anybody help me out? It's sometimes as simple as that. So as far as funding, you could do a GoFundMe, you can get a sponsorship, you can get donations. Sometimes, if anybody's listening, the school or institute that you want have funding for stuff like that. So if I tell you how many emails I like used to get about schools who, like, once I started doing the murals, all these schools hit me up. Yo, we got $5,000, but their walls was what I said was, it wasn't where I'm like, I can't do it. Like, now, and now if you want to do an Art Lives in Harlem mural in the school, I'd rather do, but I don't want to do no mural where an outside person can look through a gate and see it. It just always felt weird to me. I want art that I can walk up to. I love murals that you can walk up to. It really does something to your spirit. You mentioned Atlanta. Atlanta mural scene is almost overwhelming. It is like some of the most beautiful like murals in the world are in Atlanta. But these are not things like you got to look behind trees. It's like you can go and touch it. Like some of them be your parking lots of beauty supply stores or a restaurant. Like you can go touch these murals. To me, that's showing the community we care about you. Not like, nah, don't come over here. You can look, but from over there.
You know, it's funny. It's like a rites of passage for the small businesses here. It's like it almost has that feel of like, we're here, I'm here. When you go past, there's so many small businesses now that's even just part of their decorum in the front. Part of the facade is like, forget about sconces and all these other different things. Most of it is like, it's literally like a rites of passage, because you mentioned beauty supply stores, salons. It's not, almost every type of business has some small painting, whether it be outside, inside, something.
So then you were asking people, how do you go about that? You can literally go ask the business owner, the principal. A lot of times they be wanting that. They don't even know how to ask the world. So they want that. So what happens, especially like specifically Atlanta, just because of how you guys' city is set up, they have the wall space. So now that I see you want that, and then I love those murals where it's interchangeable, where 1 month it'll be this, then the next month it'll be that. Now you got artists like, oh, I didn't know you wanted this. So you just got to speak out into the world. So even if there's any people who own walls that you want a mural, you got to hit an artist up. Hey, can you come do a mural? My artist, Andre Chanel, who does my murals, when he's doing one mural, a business owner will be walking by, I'm like, well, man, this guy got murals all around the Bronx, literally from people seeing him do another mural. Sometimes all you gotta do is ask. A lot of things seem more complicated than what it is. So if anybody wants to be responsible for a mural, has an idea for a mural, get an artist, get some funding, go walk up to the building. Maybe you and the business go 50-50, be like, oh, I got money for this. Sometimes the artist will do it for free based on where it's at. So it's literally, you just gotta speak what you want. A lot of people, and I've been a victim to this also, we walk around with ideas, all these open tabs in our head, and forget that sometimes we have to tell the world what it is we're trying to do or want to do, because the world can't read your mind.
I love that. Athenia says, put it in the atmosphere and see what happens.
Right.
I love it. All right. So as we start to wind down our conversation for today, we spoke of a few different initiatives, but I just want to recap and remind the community of them all. So just remind them in like something short and sweet about Take Care of Harlem, Art Lives in Harlem, Table of Kingz specifically, those three. Of course, Harlem Haberdashery, the new eyeglass line that just launched. Anything else that I'm missing?
So I have a tip for any aspiring entrepreneur, anybody that's doing a lot. So you just asked me a quick summary. What I can tell people is go to kellsmania.com. That is KELLSMANIA. So what kellsmania.com is, it is literally a link tree. Everyone knows what Linktree is. What I decided to do was you get a custom domain. You connect it to your Linktree. Therefore, if I'm walking down 125th Street, if I'm in the airport, and I do all of these things, rather than give you an elevator pitch of all of my brands, go to kellsmania.com. It is simply a Linktree that I have a custom domain. I can't tell you my Linktree. So if you go to somebody bio, it'd be like linktree.com/1492. That like, you can't remember that. I always tell people, buy a custom domain. It's like $6 a month. Connect it to your Linktree, and your custom domain could be the block, something easy that you could say and keep it moving. So if you go to kellsmania.com, you can see everything everywhere I'm at. You see all my businesses, you see Table of Kingz, you can see every single brand that I have, because I got a lot going on. I'm very blessed and very fortunate to have such a beautiful support system. So the more support I'm able to get, the more things I'm able to do. Like we got 6 months in this year. I'm launching 2 more companies later this year. And I'm just excited about it because as far as anybody that wants to do multiple entrepreneurial things, if you're organized, get organized. All it is copy and paste. All of my business is copy and paste. Get a logo, promote the logo, get an Instagram page, make sure your website is good, promote it. Everything is copy and paste. So just go to kellsmedia.com and you get all my brands, every single thing that I'm a part of. It is a blessing.
All right, Kells. I'll definitely be doing that myself. So I hope everybody else out there will as well.
Yeah, get them link trees out the bios, man.
And the Instagram page for Evan Bishop Art has been dropped in the chat for you.
Oh, hold on. Okay, let me see that. Okay, thank you for that.
All right. So I do have one last final question for you. So what exactly does Juneteenth mean to you?
Oh man, so what's crazy? And I was doing a podcast yesterday, and they asked a similar question, but the way they asked it was, what is the experience of what is the Black experience in America? So when it comes to Juneteenth, it's one of them weird things where people a lot of racist people who don't understand the difference between white power and Black power is this. White power is saying, I'm better than you. Black power is encouraging our discouraged that we matter. Black power is not a matter of our race is better than yours. It is a correction of the world telling us for hundreds of years that we didn't matter, to telling our Black girls that they weren't beautiful. So Juneteenth, to me, is us saying we matter. We're not saying we better. We're not saying our holiday is better than another holiday, and we don't have to say what that holiday is. But we're just saying we matter. We're going to celebrate. And it's crazy, man. Like every year, Juneteenth celebrations get crazy and crazy. And I absolutely places I didn't even think would celebrate Juneteenth. Not only places that I think, a lot of places that I wasn't even aware of actually had Juneteenth celebrations longer than New York. All those down south places, this is our 48. The numbers, where have I been at? So I'm glad that it's getting popular in popular cities. I'm excited every time you see people dancing, seeing, everybody talk about love languages and stuff. One of my love languages is seeing Black people happy, man. Just seeing Black people smile unapologetically, dancing, drinking, having fun. Because life is hard, man. Life is hard for Black people. So Juneteenth to me is just us telling the world that we exist, we matter. Beautiful thing about Black people is whether you celebrate us or not, we're gonna celebrate ourselves. So that's what Juneteenth is for us. We gonna celebrate. Now that we got a date, we really gonna turn it up. So to me, it's just telling the world that we matter. People of color matter.
I love that. Thank you, Kells. It's been an absolute honor. This was a great, great, great conversation. I learned a lot for myself as a serial entrepreneur in my head who is looking to get out into the world. So you just already gave me some gems, and I appreciate you for that. And I pray that the community out there receives some as well, and that they were listening and will watch the replay, share, go follow. Yes. Get into what he's up to. If you're back home in New York, support. If you're not back home, maybe there's a way. I'm here still showing up. I moved and I still show up for Juneteenth every week in this forum right here. So even for those of us that are not in New York, don't think that we can't support, because we're not. We can still take care of Harlem from where we are. So thank you for this conversation. Thank you for being here, and I will see you shortly.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So welcome. Community. I hope you guys enjoyed today's conversation. I know I really, really, really did. I do have some things that I want to share before we go into our closing for today. So our CEO and founder, Athenia Rodney, is launching a new business opportunity that will be coming up in August. The series will tackle how to unleash untapped potential for higher returns, craft compelling and a compelling and unforgettable brand, master the art of social media for maximum exposure, harness the power of sales funnels to boost conversions, and streamlining and optimizing your business systems for efficiency. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a recipe for tremendous success. And guess what? The workshops are free. So there is a link that should be dropped in the chat that you can go to sign up. All right. And that'll be for all Wednesdays at 7 p.m. The workshops, and they're called How to Maximize Vending and Pop-Up Market Opportunities. All right. And with us for next week's guest, do I have next week's guest yet? I actually don't. So it'll be dropped and shared through the page. And thank you for being here with us today, and see you next week. Greetings, and good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly edition of our Lunch and Learn.
E is exhaling, having an opportunity to breathe, to rest, to refill yourself and rejuvenate yourself, because no one can pour from an empty cup.
As you evolve and become more of yourself, you begin to attract the people that are there for you.
Amen.
So everything you need is in the space.
You have to learn from your mistakes. Once you make a mistake, sit down, recoup, and then start over. And once you do that, you say, I got that.
See, Juneteenth means to me, I would definitely say empowerment and education.
When I experienced it, it's like just coming together and, being a part of something bigger than myself,
A new start, starting a new chapter, opportunity, new beginnings, all of that.